Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live channel episode. It is the 11th of April 2021. I'm coming at you live. I'll be trying to answer and read as many viewer comments and questions as I possibly can, and also updating you on anything new that has come about within the royal family in terms of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh's death, funeral on Saturday, that I possibly can. Obviously, I'll be trying to bring you as many facts and also anything that we don't know, any speculation. We'll be talking about it and I will label it as speculation. Without further ado, I'm just loading up the chat room so I can see everybody. I'm hoping everyone is doing really well. So the title of this video, to get straight into it, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, was amongst other members of the royal family today who spoke about the passing of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. And she did speak actually of the moment when he passed away. So I think that was probably the most prominent moment of what any of the royals have said about his passing as of yet. They also spoke about the Queen and how she is coping and dealing with her sad loss. So there are some video clips out there. I can't put them out on the channel for copyright purposes, but I have found an article which pretty much sums up and pretty much quotes all of the important quotes that I want to talk about. So we'll get to that in a moment. But before we do, there are a few things I just want to kind of talk about. I will be making a completely separate video about Prince Edward and titles. We did touch on this yesterday, but I want to make a separate video on this because some people might not know I spoke about it in that video. So do obviously check out that one when it's out. Okay, so a little bit of an update on Prince Harry and Meghan. It has been confirmed, a spokesperson on behalf of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex did confirm that the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry, will be returning to the UK for the funeral. The funeral, of course, has been confirmed for Saturday, so next Saturday the funeral will take place at 3 p.m. They also confirmed that Duchess Meghan will not be accompanying Prince Harry. Of course, she is in an advanced state of pregnancy, and they have said that the reasons why she won't be accompanying Prince Harry is because her doctors have advised her that it's not safe to travel. So Meghan will not be returning to the UK. Prince Harry will. Now, under current coronavirus restrictions, there is, for most people, a period of quarantine when you get to the UK. You have to have a COVID test, I think 48 hours, at least 48 hours before you travel from the country to the UK. Then you are supposed to isolate for 5 days and then obviously have a COVID test before you return to the country of which you have came, and then obviously you have to comply by that country's rules and regulations. So currently 5 days of self-quarantine is expected for people travelling to the UK. So if Prince Harry was going to do that, he would pretty much have to travel either today or tomorrow to make it in time. So expect potentially some movement from Prince Harry very soon. He could also potentially get some kind of diplomatic immunity that might mean that he may not have to quarantine. Of course, Charles and Camilla had the same diplomatic immunity when they went on an official royal engagement representing the UK. But I don't know how that would work out in terms of Prince Harry now not being a full-time working royal representing the country. Whether or not that diplomatic immunity would apply or not, I don't know. So if it doesn't, then he would be expected to follow the coronavirus quarantine rules, which are currently 5 days from when you arrive in the UK. So just thought I would kind of clear up that, and that is all we know at the moment about Prince Harry and of course Meghan not coming. Clearing up something about where Prince Philip is going to actually be buried. There was lots of talk and speculation about perhaps Frogmore Gardens. It's not going to be Frogmore Gardens. He is actually going to be interred in the main royal vault of St George's Chapel, Windsor. Now, I spoke about this in a previous video. I always thought that it was the wishes of the Queen to be buried in the George VI vault with her parents, George VI, the Queen Mother and her sister Princess Margaret's ashes. There are 2 coffin spaces remaining in there. So if it is true that Queen Elizabeth is going to be buried with her parents, it seems a little bit odd to me, at least, that Prince Philip might have been put in the royal vault away from Elizabeth. I would have expected them to be buried together. So that still might happen. Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, might only be in the royal vault, which isn't terribly far away, by the way. So he might only be there for a number of years until Queen Elizabeth II passes, in which point both of them might be interred in the George VI chapel together at the same time. So that is probably what I'm thinking is the plan. Seems a little bit odd to me not to just put him in the George VI chapel already. It seems a little bit of a faff to be moving coffins, but perhaps he didn't want to be in there without Elizabeth. I don't know. Obviously, this is all Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh's wishes. He would have pre-approved all of the funeral arrangements, and of course the Queen will have signed them off as well as being her wishes too. So just thought I'd clear that up about the royal vaults and where Prince Philip will actually be buried. So I'm going to talk now. Oh yes, before we get to the main part, the Cambridges have updated their website, Kensington Royal, with a little tribute to their grandfather, well, to William's grandfather. So do go and check that out. Also, I made a separate video on Princess Anne's tribute letter. So there is a tribute letter. I might read that at the end of this video. But now I want to talk about the kind of private ceremony service that took place earlier this morning. So this was kind of on behalf of all of the estate workers, because of course Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, was Ranger of Windsor Great Park for, I think he's been the longest Ranger ever, which means he basically kind of oversaw the maintenance and everything to do with the kind of Windsor, the wider Windsor Great Park estate. So this service was very, very much about staff and people that he worked with or worked alongside, kind of paying tribute to him. It was attended by the Earl and Countess of Wessex and their daughter, Lady Louise. I didn't see James Viscount Severn, but he may have been there, but I just didn't see him. So we saw Lady Louise Windsor, who looks like she's grown up. I almost saw a little bit of kind of Princess Anne hair going on with Lady Louise, which kind of gave me chills. So they spoke. Also, it was the first outing we have seen of Prince Andrew, or from Prince Andrew, since all the troubles. So I'm going to go now and read an article which basically says exactly what they said. So, the Queen has described her husband's death as having left a huge void. And that was said by Prince Andrew. I mean, understatement of the year, I think. 70 years of marriage, of being her consort for all that time. Of course, they married when she was princess, not queen. But he has been by her side throughout pretty much all of her royal journey as well. So the Duke of York also said, "We've lost the grandfather of our nation." Again, I think a strapline, a tagline that can be lifted and definitely applied. We've lost the grandfather of our nation, because that's what he was. He was also, I think, perhaps the grandfather of the Commonwealth too. So, as I said, Prince Andrew was accompanied by the Earl and Countess of Wessex and their daughter, Lady Louise Windsor. Again, there's no mention of James Viscount Severn, so I don't think he was there. It was a Sunday service at the Royal Chapel of All Saints at Royal Lodge, Windsor. And the Queen is understood to have attended a mass privately in Windsor Castle today. The Queen, extremely religious, always, wherever she is in the world, observes Sunday service. And today she observed that service privately, as you would expect. So Andrew said, the Queen described it as having left a huge void in her life, but we, the family, the ones who are close, are rallying around to make sure that we're there to support her. Now, by the ones that are close, I don't think he means like close as in relationship with the Queen. I actually think when I watched the video, I thought he was referring to close as in physically close, because of course Andrew and Sarah reside at Royal Lodge, Windsor, and of course the Earl and Countess of Wessex live not far away at Bagshot Park. So I think he was not describing emotionally close or relationship wise close. I think he was talking about physically close, living close. He added that his father's death had made everyone realised we are all in the same boat, because so many people had lost their lives during the pandemic. And even though Prince Philip did not die from COVID, we're all feeling a great sense of loss. The church service, as I said, is the first time that we have seen Prince Andrew, I think, for a very, very long time, and certainly those two sons, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, together in public since their father's death. The Earl of Wessex, Prince Edward, told reporters it's been a bit of a shock. However much one tries to prepare oneself for something like this, it's still a dreadful shock. The reporters were allowed to be there, they were invited, and the royals freely gave these comments. He continued, and we're still trying to come to terms with that, and it's very, very sad. But I have to say that the extraordinary tribute and the memories that everyone has had and been willing to share has been so fantastic. And of course there are so many wonderful memories of Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. Everyone who's worked with him, who's been interviewed, has had some kind of funny anecdote to share about how relaxed he made people feel when he met them. All the work he's done across the military, the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, all the, I think he was patron of over 400 charities. So there are lots of extremely fantastic memories to share. Prince Edward said, and it just goes to show he might have been our father, grandfather, father-in-law, but he meant so much to so many other people. He went on, the Queen is thinking of others before herself. No, the Countess of Wessex said that the Queen is thinking of others before herself. And obviously she said this as she was asked as she was leaving the church service. I think that is so indicative of people of that generation, that they think about other people before themselves, even though they are the ones experiencing the loss. They are the ones that probably need the support the most. The Queen has been thinking of others. That really got me. That really, really touched me, because I can just imagine her going through this immense personal pain and trauma. And of course, she's not known for her, overly being emotional, for a person, for displays of over affection. So she must really be hurting inside, but she's doing what she's always done, and that is, put other people, put duty, put the country, put the nation, put her family before herself. So I really hope that the Queen, will eventually, once all this is over, because sometimes the death or the loss of someone doesn't always hit until after the funeral. When everything's gone quiet, when all the fuss, and when you've done the last that you can for that person, because of course, arranging the funeral and being involved, it still feels like you're doing something for the person. When that is over, that is when grief can really hit. So I do hope that the Queen takes time out for herself. People are not going to be mad. People are not going to be angry if the Queen takes a little bit of time, to sort herself out, to go through whatever issues she needs to sort out in her head. We're not going to see her withdrawing from public life like Queen Victoria did. That's not the Queen. That's not what she's going to do. But I think a little period of reflection she needs. Prince Charles is there. He can take on, any duties or matters or issues of state. She needs to take some time for herself, and I really, really hope she does. She has some amazing people around her, friends, family, and of course, one of her most loyal attendants, Angela Kelly, her dresser. So I imagine there's lots of people rallying around to make sure that she's okay. But she's putting other people first. Queen, listen, Liz, Your Majesty, put yourself first. Really, none of us mind. We really don't. You've lost someone who's been your life. Take time for yourself, seriously. So I thought that was really touching that Sophie said, that she's putting other people first. She also said, she told well-wishers that the Duke of Edinburgh's death was peaceful, adding, it was like someone took him by the hand and off he went. That is the sort of death that anybody could dream of having, just in your bed, peacefully, slipping away. No pain, no trauma, just as if someone's taking you by the hand and leading you off. That was the ideal death. So if you can look at it in that sense, it was absolutely ideal. And, I'm pleased and happy for the family, for the Duke himself, that is the way it went. She continued, it's such a shock, but at the same time, it's going to happen. But when it happens, it's just this massive, massive hole. Yeah, grief is a big hole. I've always thought whenever I've gone through it, it's always that there's just an end point, and it means that you're not going to get any more of something, but you've still got everything that went before. You've still got the memories. You've still got all the laughter and the shared occasions, the shared experiences. It just means there won't be any more. But yes, a massive, massive hole. She says it was right for him, and it was so gentle. It was just like someone took him by the hand and off he went. It was very, very peaceful, and that's all you want for somebody, isn't it? Yes, Sophie, it absolutely is. She said, so I think it's so much easier for the person that goes than the people who are left behind. Absolutely. We are all sitting here looking at each other going, this is awful. Yeah, death doesn't really affect the person who's gone. It affects the people that are left behind, and people who have lost loved ones, family, friends, colleagues, will know that is absolutely true. She says, but equally, look at all the tributes. It's just amazing. She shared a joke about the manicured lawn of the churchyard, pointing to the sky. Sophie said, well, we know if staff had not done such a great job, there is one person who would have noticed. Yes, Philip had such an attention to detail. He would have noticed if the grounds were not manicured properly. So at least they did a good job. So the Earl of Wessex added, as always, but bearing up, and again, it's just the wave of affection for him and just those lovely stories. They just mean so much, and the tributes have been just fantastic. That's really, really important, and we really do appreciate it. The Countess said, Prince Philip took an interest in the lives of everyone on the estate and added they have all got stories to tell, and most of them quite funny as well. The family spoke to workers from the Windsor estate and the congregation when they arrived at All Saints, which the Queen normally attends outside of lockdown. The royals also thanked everyone for their support, particularly over the last few days following the Duke's death on Friday. And of course it comes just a day after Prince Charles made his own very, very moving tribute in the form of a video message. So yeah, I thought it was really, really lovely that the royals came out and rallied around and paid tribute and spoke to the media about how they're feeling. And to be perfectly honest, it probably was quite cathartic to be able to talk about his life and also about how he passed. The royal family, via their Twitter account and social media, also posted a lovely picture of the Queen and Philip on behalf of the Queen. This was yesterday, and the tagline said, it was actually a quote from a speech she made in 1997, a very famous one, which says, he has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years, and I and his whole family and this and many other countries owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know. And that was really, really touching words from the Queen. Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. No. So I'm going to return... No, actually, I'll read Princess Anne's letter. I have done a separate video, but I'll read Princess Anne's letter because it was so lovely. So Anne has penned a statement which reads, you know it's going to happen, but you are never really ready. My father has been my teacher, my supporter, and my critic. But mostly, it's his example of a life well lived and service freely given that I most wanted to emulate. His ability to treat every person as an individual in their own right, with their own skills, comes through all the organisations with which he was involved. I regard it as an honour and a privilege to have been asked to follow in his footsteps, and it has been a pleasure to have kept him in touch with their activities. I know how much he meant to them in the UK and across the Commonwealth, and of course the wider world. I would like to emphasise how much the family appreciate the messages and memories of so many people whose lives he also touched. We will miss him, but he leaves a legacy which can inspire us all. A beautiful message from the Princess Royal. I just think it was lovely, and it was just exactly the right note. Mason says, will the Queen be buried with Prince Philip if she passes? I spoke about that really early on in the video, but I'll talk about it again, seeing as we have 428 people watching. Philip is going to be interred in the main royal vault, which is a much bigger vault than the George VI vault, where the Queen is rumoured to want to be buried when the time comes for her. So what people are now thinking is that at the time the Queen passes, when it's her funeral, when she is interred, potentially with her parents' and sister Margaret's ashes, that Philip will be moved from the main royal vault and interred alongside the Queen at the time of the Queen's death. So we think that that's what likely will be the scenario. But of course, until it all happens, we don't know for sure. But I mean, I can't see them being buried for eternity separately. Let's put it that way. So the most likely scenario is he'll go in the royal vault for now, and then the coffin will be moved and he will be interred with Elizabeth at the time of her passing and of her interment. Together, forever, which kind of also makes sense as well. Let's have a look. I'm trying to find a comment. Sharona says, one thing I've wondered today, is St George's Chapel not closed since Prince Philip is there now? Or do you think there was a normal church? No, Prince Philip isn't in St George's Chapel, I don't believe. I read somewhere, now I'll have to check, so don't hold me to this, but I think he may have gone somewhere else first. Of course, he would have to have been embalmed as well, so you have to go to an embalmer, or an embalmer comes in. Your body has to be prepared. And I did hear that he'd actually gone to Kensington Palace to rest. I don't entirely know how true that is, but he could potentially be there and then have moved. So we shall see about that. I will check, and when I come back, probably tomorrow or the day after, I will check. Yes, Elaine, the Queen has been and continues to be amazing. Totally. Right. And I think that's pretty much all that I've got for you today. Bits of information about the funeral will come out. And when they do, the best time for me to make these videos is pretty much this kind of time, because it allows the stories to come out in the day and for me to kind of compile everything together to bring you one big video. So, thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed all the updates. I know the content I'm bringing you is sad, but if you have liked what I'm doing, please give the video a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course hit the bell, the notification bell, so that you know whenever I come on and do a pop-up video. So from me in Shropshire, I wish you all a really lovely day ahead, whatever time it is in the world for you, whether it's daytime, nighttime, and please stay safe, please look after each other, and please be kind. So from me, mwah to you all, and goodbye.